Well, hello, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at what do you do when you've got a million plants outside, maybe that's an overstatement, maybe it's not, and it suddenly gets cold. And maybe you bought a greenhouse like I did and figured out rather abruptly that it's not going to work in a harsh winter environment. And so you suddenly have all these plants. You don't know what to do with them. You need to bring them inside. What do you do to make sure that they, one, stay alive, two, don't go dormant, so that you can make sure that you're maximizing that winter time and still having that growth that you want to see year round? So I'm going to show you what I have implemented and kind of how it's changed over the years. So last year we had bought a greenhouse. I will show it. And I very abruptly discovered that it's not well insulated. So it may do well in our Oklahoma, environment, maybe for 6 months out of the year if you're lucky, but it's not going to do well in the harsh Oklahoma summers or the harsh Oklahoma winters. So if you live in a temperature that's not Southern California or Florida, where it's beautiful year round, and you do have some harsh temperatures either during summer or winter or both, these greenhouses are typically not a good idea. A better idea would be to buy one of the kind of plastic, cheaper greenhouses, put that in a closet in your garage, if your garage is temperate, or you can keep it temperate, or, another room or area of your house. You can also use the kind of cannabis grow tents, which are the black big grow tents. Those are great. They're set up for, hooking up ventilation and lighting. And so they can be really great for bringing in a lot of plants into the house suddenly. Last year, we actually used that method. I'll insert a couple pictures. And then this year, we actually moved to a different method. We actually built a room within kind of the small addition that we've built on the back of our house. I'm going to show you kind of what that addition looks like and what my greenhouse or jungle office looks like. So I'll do a quick tour of that. And then I'm going to show you the little extra addition room that we built. That's kind of an indoor greenhouse, which is where I put all of my plants that were outside and brought them in this year. Fortunately, this year I did not have as many outdoor plants as I did last year. And a lot of the, kind of plants that I may have had outdoors some days, but not other days, kind of the rarer ones, I usually keep in my office because they just seem to love it here. They don't go dormant during winter, and they just grow and grow and grow all year round. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Before we do that, just a really quick disclaimer that I am an Amazon affiliate. I have linked several of the products that I'm going to be mentioning throughout the video down below in the description of the comments. I may receive a small commission if you buy anything using those links, and I have not been incentivized in any way, shape, or form to review these specific products. These are all products I bought 100% with my own money and reviewed on my own terms. So let's go ahead and get started. So I know a lot of us in the South are having to bring our plants in now for the winter. So I wanted to share my garage grow tent setup. I've just taken everything in from outdoors in the greenhouse, and I've also repurposed my lights into the tent. So everything that was inside the house as far as my rare exotics had to come out here as well. So we've got a filtration system blowing in air, and this is basically called a whole house humidifier. It's sufficient for 3,600 square feet, which basically just means I won't have to fill the tank as often, but it's keeping it a beautiful 70-degree humidity in here. So everybody is put up and ready to do some growing over the winter. So this is the back of our house. So imagine the back of the house being outside. Then they framed it in, put a door on it, got a little AC unit, and I'm tripping over stuff, and as you can see, This is definitely the messiest room in the house because it's not finished yet. Still a work in progress. I did do a cool little impromptu mural over here. Anyways, this is a kind of an outdoor inside greenhouse. That makes no sense. It's basically just a little tiny greenhouse, but it's kind of got an indoor component. And then over here is my office where I go to work every day. And as you can see, it's usually set to this. Let's show you around in here real quick before I show you the winter setup. So this is where I come and work every day. And as you can see, it's getting a little crowded in here. I won't take you through all of these. I'll have to do a kind of a bigger plant tour shortly. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'm happy to take you through what all of these are, but I imagine a lot of you would be completely bored. And then others of you would probably love the shit out of that. But anyways, this is all still the outside of the house. There is the only window that we have in our front room. And so we get like zero natural light, except we've got a big sunlight, but it doesn't bring in as much light as you think it would. There's my desk over there, super messy. If you're wondering what this big jug of gross looking water is, that is actually my liquid dirt fertilizer. I will link that in the description because every watering gets some liquid dirt, some Super Thrive, and then about once a month, once every couple months during winter, I use some CalMag, and that without a doubt contributes to the growth and the size and the healthiness of these plants. I would consider my plants to be extremely healthy, extremely happy. They have these south-facing windows. Usually that curtain's pulled back. I don't know why it's open, closed, sorry. We've got the grow light situation over here. As you can see, definitely expertly secured and totally safe. Totally. And then we've got another one over here. This is Trip. This is a prop box with all kinds of goodies going. And honestly, they've all been in there way too long. They are heavily rooted, and I'm gonna crush this thing if I don't be careful. Woo! Okay, we saved it. This insane thing is my Campo Spartanum, which I ended up unwrapping the other day from over here so that I could show it in my top 10 favorite philodendrons video. And then back here we've got my lovely Zoom background. I know y'all are all jealous because I hear it on the calls. Anyways, let's go and check out the winter setup. So everything from the front porch, or at least probably 75% of it, came into this room. And then the few things that said that they could tolerate some Oklahoma winters ended up staying out front. As you can see in here, we've got 2 grow lights. I believe this one may be a 2,000 watt. I will link it. This one I believe is a 1,000 watt. I found that running both of them was just getting way too hot in here, even though I do have a couple fans for circulation and a humidifier. I do not have access for AC to come in here. And it's been still pretty warm outside. It's kind of doing that Oklahoma flip-flop thing where it's blistery cold winter one week and then the next week it's like summer all over again, which I'm fine because let's take the summer like days as much as we can. But anyways, everything else comes in here, and I did have some browning that happened within the first couple weeks. It was hard for them to adapt, and some of them are still adapting, but that is fine. They can adapt and they will adapt, and they will all be just fine. The biggest thing I got to keep an eye on is spider mites, and poor little Banana over here already got a talking to and got a little bit of a cutting because she wasn't playing nice, so she's gonna stay over there. This one, the Mycorrhiza variegata alocasia, that was super fancy for just variegated alocasia. And aren't you all loving my nail stitch right now? Because I've got a cold and I don't want to go get a nail technician sick. Anyways, this one's doing great, and it was in the office, so it was already loving the office, but I thought it might like this extra light situation, and it totally is because it is putting off a new leaf. Woo woo. So anyways, let's see what we've got temperature wise. It's about 68 degrees in here. 81% humidity is what that's reading, but this one is actually set to go off at like 55 or 60. I think 55. So I'll generally try to accumulate them slowly to get around 50%. And then my office is just whatever it is. I don't run a humidifier in there. I have the couple grow lights, but just having the plants in there in general keeps it fairly humid. Like humid to a point we've actually got some mold situations, so I have to run a fan 24/7. And fans, I cannot underestimate the importance of good lighting and good fans. Like humidity, they can adjust for the most part, unless you're doing calatheas or something. But fans are a must, so get a couple good ones. This one's not a good one, but I love this Vornado. I love this Elec Homes humidifier. It does warm mist as well as cool mist. It's a top fill, which is a must, and I will definitely link that in the comments as well. And yeah, I'll just link anything that I've mentioned or anything that I think might be helpful, because I've tested so many products at this point and definitely have a good perspective as to which ones are worth spending your money on and which ones aren't. All right, well, that is it. I hope you'll enjoy. I hope you've been able to take care of your plants, getting them safely inside for the winter. We just framed out this little building within a separate room, added the foil, and as you can see, we've got an exhaust fan that actually pulls everything out. They've also installed electricity up there, excuse me, and that is probably way too much electricity, and don't tell anyone, but I mean, it's not like we got any permits or anything. They just do it. And when I say they, I'm just talking about my husband and my father-in-law, and I love them for it. That is all, folks. So I really hope that you found that helpful. You can kind of see how we adjusted from one year to the next. It can be very stressful to have to pull all those plants in and you just don't know what to do. And like I said in that last video, I cannot underestimate the importance of having good light and good ventilation. You do not want to get stuck with a mold spore situation. That can impact your health. I actually had to have an air quality assessment place come out to my house and paid quite a bit of money for them to, basically run some testing and find out that I did have some mold situations that was caused by having the humidifier on without adequate circulation, and just, all these plants can generate their own, mold spores. So be careful, make sure you've got that adequate ventilation, that it's ventilating out of the room, and that you've got that constant fan circulation going so that you don't run into a mold situation. I'm happy to answer any questions, so if you do have questions about what we did with our setups, please leave them in the comments. Please, if you got anything out of this video, please give it a little like, give it a thumbs up, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you get notified when I drop more great content that could be useful for your plant adventuring. Until next time, appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.